All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Colleges That Change Lives virtual college fair. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenter at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions that's happening as part of the Colleges That Change Lives virtual day, so certainly be sure to sign up for additional ones on the same site where you originally registered. And also in about a week's time, a recording of this session and all others will be available on that same site. I'm now pleased to turn it over to our presenter, Rob.
Hi, thanks everybody for joining us this evening. I appreciate you spending 45 minutes with Ohio Wesleyan University. My name is Rob Walton. I'm Associate Director of Admission at OWU. And I've been at Ohio Wesleyan for a while now, and I've been doing college admission for a while longer than that. I'm going to share my screen and hope that now you should be looking at Discover OWU. And that's really what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk through some of the top questions that we tend to get as an institution. We're going to take you through just general overview of what's going on campus. We're going to talk about admission in general. We're going to talk about some of the specifics of some unique programs and scholarship offerings that we have. And we're going to try to do all of that in the next 40 to 45 minutes. As you just heard from Owen, please do make sure to utilize the Q&A function, and I will keep my eyes peeled to make sure that if questions come in that we get to all of them. I'm hoping that throughout the course of this, some of this might sound familiar if you've already been to Ohio Wesleyan or if you've already met with us in some sort of way. And that I hope that after today, we leave you wanting more and that you'll want to continue to interact with us. That said, before I go through the slides, I do want to tell you that we do have a number of other virtual ways to connect with us. We have our Bishop Plus series, which is a series of live programming just like this, that cover a whole host of topics, all about the admission process, all about OWU, and oftentimes we even join up with our other partner institutions through the CTCL or any other organizations that we might be a part. Also, thanks to the Colleges That Change Lives, we're a proud member and excited to be with you this evening. Also, for those of you that are comfortable and able and willing to travel and visit campus in person, we are offering live tours at OWU. So we are open for business. So if after today you think, I do want to see campus, I'd like to take a physical tour, you can do so. We're offering 3 to 4 tour times a day during the week, and we're offering 2 tour times on Saturdays. So with safety protocols, as you might expect, but students do really seem to be taking advantage of that. So without further ado, this is a look of an aerial shot of campus. We are right in downtown Delaware, Ohio, which is a northern suburb of Columbus. We're going to talk a little bit about that, about where we are and the context there. But if you don't already know, the Columbus metro area is the second largest Midwest metropolitan area, just behind Chicago, Illinois. So a lot of options and a lot of opportunity there. We'll go through Columbus and Delaware County. We'll go through that later, but just to give you an idea of where we are within the state of Ohio. The first program I really want to talk about, or the first experience I want to talk about at OWU, is our signature program called the OWU Connection. Think big, go global, get real. We created the OWU Connection for students who really care about exploring big ideas. So beyond the idea of just going to class and checking the boxes and taking prereqs, but really caring about exploring big ideas and creating a better future for yourself as well as the community. You're going to work directly with OWU professors. You're going to design your own unique OWU Connection experience and your pathway. And you'll see some examples of this. We'll go through this. And they could be nonlinear, right? You're going to learn maybe how your path and where your path is going to take you as a part of the OWU Connection. So, internships, travel, research, all based on what you care about and moving you forward. So it's not a normal, it is extraordinary when it comes to the college experience. So the first part, think big. We're talking about interdisciplinary programs and research. This is going to be through guided and personalized research projects and interdisciplinary study. The picture here, this is OWU math professor Craig Jackson, who's pictured on the left side there. And right in the center, that's zoology professor Amy Downing. They actually team teach a class that explores how mathematical modeling can be used to better understand ecosystems in the marine layer. So, maybe you're thinking about marine biology, maybe you're thinking about just math as a major. I like that this is team taught. So you're taking a subject area and applying it to a real world problem that needs a solution. So the university received a grant from the Mellon Foundation to support even more courses just like this. Here's another great example of Jordan Brown. And as I mentioned, these pictorials are, intentionally non-linear, right? You see kind of looping and swooping throughout the path. In his first year, Jordan studied botany and microbiology. He stepped into a research project with Professor David Marquardt, and the mentorship through Professor Marquardt helped Jordan launch into some summer research projects at some other partnering universities, which then led him to graduate school. He's now studying biotechnology at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. So again, I don't need to read the entire slide, but as you can see these examples of how one thing leads to another, piggybacks on another, and all of these experiences dovetail together over your 4-year experience at OWU. The second part of that, go global. This pandemic is not fun, but it is temporary. And so when you're thinking about choosing a college, thinking about what is permanent, right? And I think we've learned more than ever, it's the world's need for college graduates who have a global perspective and global experience, right? We've learned just how interconnected we are. And at Ohio Wesleyan, you'll have vast opportunities to go global. Approximately 2/3, just a little bit more than that, of our students do make global connections. So the only question is, where do you want to go? This is actually a picture of our island biology class. They spent the last 2 weeks of their semester, the entire class went to the Galapagos Islands, which is on my bucket list of places to visit. The next student I want to talk about is Eva Blockstein. She's from the DC, Maryland area. And like so many OWU students, she used the OWU Connection to go global, right? So she did travel learning classes. She was actually in that picture in the Galapagos Islands. She studied geography in Costa Rica. And just again, to explain, travel learning classes, they spend an entire semester on campus, followed by a 2-week class experience somewhere else in the world. Eva held 3 internships, including one at a nature preserve right near campus. We're near a state park. And then one at Columbus's nationally recognized zoo. So the Columbus Zoo is also just a hop, skip, and a jump down the street from OWU's campus. So she also had grant-funded trips. She took a grant-funded trip to Panama and then domestically in Alabama. And she landed her first job right out of college as a field technician. She's at the National Ecological Observatory, which is in Alaska. So truly global experiences all across the world. Another example of a great OWU experience that led directly to a career. Getting real, I think you as a student appreciate that. I know your family appreciates that you're going to gain real world experience and valuable knowledge and skills that give you a pathway to go forward in a career or grad school or becoming the person you want to become. In a typical year, more than 95% of our students, when they graduate, they move quickly into a job or graduate school. They're helped by our Career Connection office, a designated career catalyst. And again, many of these experiences lead right to a career after graduation. So the gentleman in the picture here, this is Tom Dolan. He graduated just 2 years ago in 2018. He interned with U.S. Senator Cory Gardner through our Wesleyan in Washington program. And now, just 2 years out of college, Tom works in the U.S. House of Representatives. So, again, imagine that experience, particularly right now at a pivotal time here in the United States. So, the question is, who do you want to be? So, yet another example. This is Charlie Kotler. He's one of the many student athletes at OWU who embraced the OWU Connection and took better steps or took steps, excuse me, to create that better future that we alluded to in a previous slide. So he took a semester abroad in Spain, getting marketing experience. He traveled with the men's soccer team to do international collegiate sports. And then through all of this, he actually discovered the world of digital health during a summer internship with WebMD. So I can only imagine how useful and helpful that knowledge would be in today's pandemic. So right out of college, Charlie was accepted into an accelerated development program at an organization called Change Healthcare, and they're based in Nashville, Tennessee. So we're really proud of Charlie as well. So a little bit about our students at large. We have just a little bit less than 1,500 students. We're a small liberal arts college, obviously. About 90% of our students are in-person classes right now. So during the pandemic, we did offer a remote learning, but almost 90% of our students chose that they wanted to be on campus doing in-person classes. So we're a national liberal arts university. 85% of our students live on campus. Our community represents 40 states and 28 countries. And students choose OWU because we're a diverse campus, right? 27% of our students are international and or US multicultural. 22%, just a little bit more than 1 out of 5 students is a first-gen college student. I know that means a lot to me. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And as I said, 95% are employed or in graduate school within 6 months after they graduate from OWU. 91% of those graduates had an OWU Connection experience. So again, if you're thinking about going to med school, if you're thinking about going to law school, if you're thinking about going to veterinary school, 90% and up acceptance rates, which is, that's typically twice the national average. So we're really proud of what our students are able to do both in their time and after their time at Ohio Wesleyan University. So another question I get is, what are some of your key majors, right? What are things that OWU is known for? I will tell you this, we have over 75 majors. So you can't go wrong. There's a good chance that if you have an idea of what you want to study, that you're going to find that at Ohio Wesleyan. The other truth is that if you're not 100% sure what you want to study, that's okay too. And that many times those OWU Connection experiences will help lead you down that path of what it is you might consider doing for a career after you graduate. But in terms of what are the programs that have the most number of students enrolled in them currently? Psychology, which would be probably the most liberal arts defined type of a program. I like psychology as a degree. It's such a robust type program, and it can go so many different directions. Some students will use that to go to law school or into psychology or to become a social worker or to be an educator or to combine that with business savvy or politics and government. So psychology, a very versatile degree. Zoology, that is certainly a unique program within a liberal arts setting. That gives me an opportunity to tell you that STEM is a really important part of the experience at OWU. And so if you're thinking about STEM, know that you can do that in a liberal arts setting at OWU. Business and economics. So again, we're in a major metropolitan area. We're in the suburbs, but we're only 25 minutes from downtown Columbus. So all those Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies that are there, you'll be able to take advantage of that. Health and human kinetics. For those of you thinking about becoming a PT, AT, OT, you're thinking about going to med school. Health and human kinetics, HHK, that's a really versatile degree as well. Again, STEM related and getting the opportunity to learn in a liberal arts setting where you're going to get a dynamic education. And then the last of those top 5 would be politics and government. And again, Columbus is the state capital, so it just makes sense. We already talked about our Wesleyan in Washington program, and we gave that example of Tom Dolan. It's a big part of the experience at OWU. So again, those are our top 5 in terms of the number of students enrolled in the program. So again, you're going to build strong faculty interactions. The relationships between students and faculty are very strong. Keep in mind that the reason why our professors are teaching at a liberal arts school is because they love teaching. So yes, they're doing research on the side. Yes, they're published, but that's not their primary focus. Their focus is teaching undergraduate students at OWU. And 100% of them have their full-time, 100% of our full-time faculty have their terminal degree or their PhD. So faculty are accessible. You're going to know their office hours. You're going to have their email, their cell phone. I've even heard of students dog sitting for professors when they're on, a sabbatical or on a break or on vacation. So then maybe now is a good time to pivot to, again, that setting as where are we located within the state of Ohio? I would say that the best description of OWU's location is small town charm, but big city opportunities. So Delaware, Ohio is centrally located right in the middle of the state. We're just, again, 25 minutes northwest of downtown Columbus, and Delaware is a 5-minute walk from campus. So if you're, the picture on the left, you can see kind of your Main Street USA, that's Sandusky Street, and that is what bifurcates the campus itself. So all of those things are right within just a 5-minute walk of the residence halls. And we're talking about, nearly 50 restaurants, cafes, shops, bookstores, the movie theater. At the population of the community of Delaware is about 40,000, and that's one of, many suburbs within the larger Columbus metro area. Columbus is very accessible and vibrant. It's the 14th largest city in the entire country. It's the second largest in the Midwest, and it's in the top 3 among best cities in the United States for new graduates to live. So it's a place for young people. It's one of the top 10 for STEM jobs. I can't say enough about location. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stay in Central Ohio. So if mom or dad or somebody else is listening and they're like, well, we want you to come back. Well, certainly we have connectivity all over the world, but just know that you're going to, at least for the next 4 years, you're going to be in an amazing place that you may very well choose you want to stay after you graduate. Again, this is the charm that I referenced, right? So this is what students really like about Delaware, Ohio, right? So Coffeeology on the left, our farmers market, the Strand Theater, which is only $6 to go see a show. And again, those downtown restaurants and shops, just a quick walk from campus. And of course, the opportunity, what students love around Columbus, I mentioned the award-winning Columbus Zoo, events in the downtown in the Arena District, the Short North, the Gallery Hop. We've got professional sports. If you're a sports fan, we got Blue Jackets, the Columbus Crew, the Clippers. If you like baseball, concerts, events, things coming through town, Nationwide Arena. If you like to shop like I do, Tanger Outlets is like 10 minutes down the street, and Polaris Fashion Place is one of the largest metropolitan shopping areas in the state of Ohio. So again, you can't go wrong, both walking distance and just a very quick distance from campus. So the other question I get sometimes is, where am I going to live? What do we do on campus? What's that like? 85% of our students live on campus, and they're there 7 days a week. So I really appreciate that students are going to get that full campus experience, that we have lots of different residence hall options. So the picture top left there, that's Stuyvesant Hall. That's your traditional residence hall, although there are some suite style options on campus as well. We have our small living units, or SLUs. That's that row of houses that you see on the top right. So as opposed to just buying up nearby houses and annexing them to the campus, we actually built brand new houses with students in mind. So these houses were built with the idea that they'd be living learning communities for undergraduate students. We have fraternities for men. We have the Panhellenic House. We've got Greek life on campus if you choose that route. And then we've actually got 2 brand new residence halls that are, 2 wings of a brand new residence hall that are going to be completed next fall. So Smith Hall is actually one of our older residence halls that we built from the inside out. So we kept the shell, so the outside still has that historic collegiate look and feel to it, but we've essentially gutted and remodeled the entire inside. And then we've also broke ground on some brand new apartment complexes. So what all that to say, however you want to live on campus, whether that's a traditional residence hall, a suite style, a house, a Greek life, an apartment, all of the above. You can do all of those things and never actually have to move off campus. That you can do all of that, live on campus, pay for it through financial aid or scholarship or any of the above, work through residence life, not have to deal with a lease and a landlord and subletting and all of that. So I think that's a huge advantage for our students. Branch Rickey Arena is on the top. That's actually our historic arena. It's going to reopen in just a few weeks. It's gone through a multi-million-dollar renovation, and on the bottom there is the Bradford Milligan Hall, and that is the apartment complex that I talked about. That's going to be open for starting with seniors and starting next fall. So again, those are renderings. It's still in the building process. I'm really excited to see the final project there. Now, as you're looking at this, a couple of things I want to talk about in terms of the cost of attendance. First off, we know that this year has been a rough one for a lot of folks, and so we froze tuition this year. We didn't raise tuition costs 1 cent. And the other thing I'd like to point out is that over 95% of our students are receiving both merit-based or need-based, or oftentimes both, in terms of financial aid. So if you're looking at all these numbers and you're adding up, okay, that's my total cost, look at the average financial aid package. So the second line from the bottom, average financial aid package, $43,393. That's not the average that students are paying. That's the average discount that is being taken off in both the merit and need-based aid. So if you look at the bottom, now this is an average, and so some students might pay less than that. Some students might pay a little bit more than that. But on average, our students are paying out of pocket $16,000 for a $60,000 education, which I think is remarkable. Now, how do we do that? Again, the vast majority of our students are receiving scholarships or need aid or both. We're fortunate that alumni really love their experience at OWU so much that they actually donate to help students through our Go Forward to Better initiative. Our signature scholarship is the Branch Rickey Opportunity Promise. For those of you who are unaware of the Branch Rickey legacy, you probably also noticed that his namesake is on our arena. Branch Rickey, a very noteworthy alum from years and years ago. He did many things throughout his career, but the one that I think really stands out to me and to us at OWU is that he signed Jackie Robinson, a professional baseball player, to his first professional contract, which broke down barriers and really did change the sports landscape, and in many ways the landscape and culture here in the United States. And so we're proud of his role within that legacy. We're proud of that history, and we're certainly proud of that connection to OWU. And he really believed that if you have the talent and skills, you should have the opportunity. So the Branch Rickey Opportunity Promise is a $30,000 scholarship, and it's awarded to every student who is admitted to OWU and has a 3.6 GPA or higher on a 4-point scale. And we'll always take the weighted GPA. So, obviously we're going to talk about what we look at when you apply, but as you might guess, right, we look at both grades and rigor. And if you have taken a solid set of coursework and you've done well in those classes, we want to make sure that we acknowledge that. So there's no separate application for that. This is an automatic scholarship. Every student who qualifies receives that award, and we acknowledge that at the time of admission. So if you're thinking right now, well, I have a 3.6, I have a 3.7, I have a 3.8. It's renewable all 4 years that you're at Ohio Wesleyan. So if you think about that, that's $120,000 over the course of 4 years. We do have scholarships beyond the Branch Rickey. They actually start at $25,000 and work their way up from there. Now, the good news doesn't stop there. We do have additional scholarships that may require additional applications or interview, but they are stackable on top of the awards that we just talked about. So if you're in talent-based areas like theater, dance, art, music, there might be some audition opportunities there. The Schubert and the Wesleyan scholarships, these are competition-based awards, and so there's going to be competition weekends. This year, my guess is that these will move to a virtual format, but there's going to be some breakout rooms and some group work and some essay writing and some other things that go along with that. But really a fun and engaging process in addition to the scholarship potential. And then on the top right, if you are involved in community service, I would advise you to apply for our MEEK Scholars. So the MEEK Scholars is an award for students who have shown a dedication to helping others and serving in the community. Now, keep in mind, we understand, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the application, we understand that over the past 6-8 months, it's been much more difficult to continue to stay involved in some of these areas. So we recognize that we're all going through this together. I think that we'll certainly acknowledge that when the time comes in terms of your extracurricular activities. So that leads me right to it. What are those key factors when it comes to admission? Well, while we didn't put these in any particular order, it does make sense that academic performance is at the top of that list. We're going to take a look at that transcript. And as I mentioned, we're going to look at, within the context of your school, what level of coursework did you take? Did you really push yourself and challenge yourself? And did you challenge yourself to the level to which you're going to be successful? And that you were able to earn quality marks and attain quality grades throughout the course of that time. We are a test optional institution. So while you see that ACT or SAT scores are on the list, you do not need to submit them. So if you were unable to take the test, and certainly that happened a lot this year, if you took the test and you do not think that's really representative of your ability or your work, or any other reason for that matter, you do not have to submit your test. You can apply test optional, and that will not negatively impact your admission, nor will that negatively impact your scholarship. So as you saw in those scholarship offerings, there was no mention of a test score with any of those. So the other factors that I think are helpful, the essay, it's really my favorite part of a student's application. It's if you think about it, it's the one place where a student's voice can be heard throughout these materials, right? It's not just a transcript, it's not a list of grades, it's not a list of activities, it's not, we're going to talk about rec letters, it's not somebody else's opinion. The essay is really the one place where you can author something that you want to have said, and we can learn a lot from that about the author, even if it's not about you, even if it's about an experience or a stance, or you're telling a story, or you're talking about somebody else, or any number of things. And think about which prompt you pick, right? So we use the Common Application, commonapp.org. OWU.edu, you can also access the application on our website. But when you choose a prompt, make sure that you're picking a prompt that you have something to write about, and that you're fully answering and fully developing the answer to that question. But that said, there's not a right or wrong answer, and you also don't have to worry about if the reader agrees with your stance on something, or that they even necessarily understand or empathize with a problem or solution that you're suggesting in that. It also doesn't need to be funny. It doesn't need to be sad. It doesn't need to be serious. You get to choose the tone. And so, think about it like you would a final English paper for class. Sleep on it. Don't submit it the same day that you wrote it. If you feel comfortable having a counselor, a teacher, a parent, somebody who you trust, and you want them to review it, I think that makes a lot of sense as well. But certainly, I think that it can really benefit you and really help the admissions committee with understanding a little bit more about who the person behind all these other materials is. That said, the recommendation letters are also helpful. We typically look for 2. We don't need 6. We don't need 12. If you're a school counselor and a teacher who really knows you in an academic setting are able to give us some background information about, well, this student really worked hard in class. They came in for extra help. They really contributed to the classroom discussion. They went above and beyond the call. This wasn't the class they earned the greatest grade, but they really challenged themselves and they met the challenge, and they set themselves up well for what's ahead when they get to college. So think about that as you're thinking about who you'd like to ask to write those recommendation letters. And then of course, the last thing on that list, we've already talked about it in terms of scholarship, but extracurricular activities. And again, we know that the last 6 to 8 months has been a wild, crazy time, and that some of the things that you may have previously been doing aren't happening right now. We understand that. In fact, you'll have an opportunity to talk about that in one of the other subsequent questions on the Common App. But think about, what are the things that you have accomplished over the course of time in high school that you're really proud of and that stand out to you and that you really think show where, how you spend your time when you're not in the classroom. A couple key elements here, just in terms of dates and deadlines. When it comes to financial aid, if you're going to be submitting financial aid, that application is live. It went live, the free application for federal student aid. It went live October 1. So I urge you to submit that as soon as able, just so that we're able to put together that full financial aid package in a timely manner as well. Let me go through these different timelines. If you already know that Ohio Wesleyan is where you plan to enroll, and it's not just your number one choice, you already know, you're like, hey, I just need to know that I'm admitted, and I can already tell you that that's where I plan to be. That's early decision, right? You're willing to make that commitment. That's due November 15th. You want to move through the process. You know that's where you're planning to go. That's early decision. Early action, you're very eager and excited to get that decision back. You might want to get that back earlier in the process before you even decide if you have to worry about filling out more applications, but you're not ready to make that commitment 100%. That's early action, and that's due December 1st. Regular decision, as you can see, technically is not due till March 1st, but I can tell you that the vast majority, probably 90 to 95% of our applicants will have submitted their application and completed it before we go into like a holiday break season, right? We're going to see those here in the first semester of senior year. And then of course, May 1st, an exciting time. By that point, if you're a senior right now, 6 months from now or so, you're going to know where you're going. And if it's OWU, we'll be preparing to get things ready on the residence life side and student life side, and we'll be preparing campus for your arrival. So all of that is exciting news. Keep in mind that even if you are applying regular decision, if you apply right now, you'll have a decision back within 2 to 3 weeks. So we're not waiting to push the button on all those decisions at once. Once we get an application in, we want to review it on its own merit, make a decision, and send back that notification as soon as we can. And typically right now, we're just kind of getting underway in October. You can expect 2 to 3 weeks turnaround. So some other ways that you can connect with Ohio Wesleyan. I would urge you again to think about exploring more about the campus itself. You can do that in our virtual tour, and there are actually 2 ways that you can do this now. The first is that we do have a really robust and you can actually toggle around the campus however you choose to go. And it looks kind of like you're looking at right now, where you'll have images and videos behind you, and you'll have somebody who's pre-recorded talking about those experiences in a virtual tour context. We also have live virtual tours. So maybe you're not able to get to campus right now, but you'd really like to take that live campus tour experience. As our students are giving tours of the campus every day, they're actually bringing with them a camera so that they can film it as they go. And it's as if you are right there with them as they walk around campus. And so we're doing both of those options. I think that's really unique, that second part certainly. And so take advantage of that. OWU.edu/discover. That's where you're going to learn a little bit more about majors and programs beyond the few that we were able to highlight in today's program. Our Bishop Banter. If you're into podcasting, you like pre-recorded interviews and Q&A and sessions about learning more about specific areas, either areas of campus or of the process or unique things, that's our Bishop Banter series. And I find that to be really informative, and they're quick, they're short. You can learn a lot in a short amount of time. OWU.edu/meetyourcounselor. this is an opportunity for you to directly interact with your admission counselor. If you're from Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Missouri, Kansas, the Dakotas, it's going to be me. If it's not one of those states that I just mentioned, you can go to the Meet Your Counselor page, learn who that person is, and correspond with them directly. You can send them a direct email. You can send them a direct text message. You can actually schedule a time to meet with them either via Zoom or on the phone. You'll have access to their meeting calendar, so you can put your name right into their calendar. So that's your Meet Your Counselor page. I would, again, take advantage of that. We want to know who is excited about OWU, and so we can learn a little bit more about you. And then, of course, owu.edu/admission. That's where you're going to find the application, more information, kind of teased out a little bit more than what we talked about in terms of the process. And then again, the /visit. If you are interested in coming to campus and experiencing it live, we are taking tours around on campus, and we would welcome you and get you around to see all the things that you want to see. And of course, we're doing a lot more virtual programming like this. If you liked this session and you want to explore more, we have our Bishop Plus series, which is, these are all live programs. We do them with other universities at times. Sometimes they're just OWU specific, but you can really get into some really great detail about a lot of different areas, whether that's STEM at OWU or student life or any number of things. So check that out as well. And again, stay connected. So, you know, as you see there, everyone's dreaming big. We're proud to be a member of the Colleges That Change Lives. I would urge you to check out our custom view book. So if you if you think about like the big thick paper view books of old, and maybe you've seen some of those in your school counseling office, you can actually get a custom view book now where you can get print, but you can also get it delivered in electronic PDF form, and we'll only send you the information that you want. We're not going to bombard you with things that are extraneous or that don't pertain to you. So stay connected that way too. And lastly, just thank you for joining us today. You can actually scan that QR code. It'll actually take you directly to a page on our website where you can request more information. And if you had questions about today's program or things that we didn't cover today, that's my email. That's my direct office line, and I'm happy to help. With that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to check the Q&A because I do see that we've got a number of questions. So when you say 85% of students live on campus, yes, you are able to do that because we are able to offer on campus for everybody who wants it. So I've never, in my time at OWU, I've never heard of a student who wanted more information, or excuse me, who wanted on-campus housing and wasn't able to get it. So while I never like to use the word guarantee, we intentionally are building newer and more and better structures on campus because we want students to live on campus. And so we're not interested in turning students away from living on campus. That's something that we hope that students will take advantage of, and that we want them to do that. With early decision, the deadline for ED is coming up in November. You have plenty of time between now. You've got a month between now and then to submit your FAFSA. And so if getting that information about your financial aid is critical to making a decision, by all means, I urge you to do that. And I also would urge you to check out our financial aid page at OWU, because you can actually, even before you fill out the FAFSA, you can learn a lot about where you might be in terms of typical aid. I mean, a lot of these things are pretty standardized, particularly when it comes to need-based aid, particularly when it's non-institutional dollars and it's coming from federal monies. These are kind of pre-allotted amounts. So you can actually learn a lot about what type of aid you might be expecting. And of course, add that to whatever scholarship you might already have an idea that you qualify for. Again, merit-based awards typically start at a 3.0 on a 4-point scale. And if you're at that 3.6 and above, you're going to be in that Branch Rickey Opportunity Promise category. Any other, I'm looking at the Q&A. I don't see any others. Thank you to David for the kind words as well. Oh, I do have one more. Yep, and I hope that is just questions about ED versus EA. So early decision, early action. Again, that is kind of the delineation. If you're really excited about OWU and you're not just ready to make that commitment, early action could be a great opportunity for you. You get your decision back really quickly. You'll start getting your financial aid information, and you'll learn a lot about you'll have the cards on the table, to use the expression or use the cliche. And I think that helps. I think particularly now, having a little bit of clarity and understanding about what's ahead, I think that helps students and families be able to make a decision. And so for those of you who are not seniors yet, and you're just starting this process and you're juniors, I really appreciate that you're on today, because this means that a year from now, you're going to be ready to go. So I know we've got a mix of seniors and juniors, and maybe even some folks that are freshmen, sophomore in high school. So yes, thank you to everybody who joined us this evening. I do see that we're coming up on time, so I'm going to turn it back to Owen, who's going to kind of close out the session. But thanks to everybody for joining us today, and thanks for your time. Go Bishops.
Thanks so much, Rob, and thank you to everyone for joining us. When this webinar ends, there will be a link to a quick 4-question survey, and we would appreciate any feedback that you could provide. Also, just a reminder that this is one of many sessions being hosted by Colleges That Change Lives, so be sure to sign up for additional ones. And in about a week's time, a recording of this session, as well as all others, will be available at that same website. Thanks so much and have a great evening.